Hello, and welcome to Making a Document 508 Compliant. My name is Michelle Keating, and I'm an instructor with Soft Tech Services, and I'm going to give you a brief overview on remediating a Word and a PDF. First, why is Section 508 important? Following Section 508 compliance guidelines also helps ensure a smoother experience for users with health related problems that can make using a computer or other technology difficult. Section 508 accessibility is intended for people who have visual disabilities and or mobility impairments. Technology is considered accessible if it can be used by people with disabilities as well as by those without. The highlight of Section 508 is that it promotes accessibility over accommodation. Accessibility is proactive, where accommodation is reactive. Section 508 is leading to increased accessibility across society, not only at the government level. So I have some best practices. We offer at Soft Tech Services a full 6-hour class working in instructor led, where you can work with an instructor and remediating Word and PowerPoint, Excel files, and PDFs. But I just want to go over some do's and don'ts just to highlight some bells and whistles for you. First, when you are working in a Word document, you always want to use Word's built-in styles to create your document. It gives your document a nice structure, and a screen reader will be able to interpret which is a main topic, subtopic, and so on. We want to refrain from manually creating our headings, for example, selecting a main heading and making it size 18 or bold, because a screen reader is not going to interpret that that is a main topic. We always want to use the bulleted list features or the number list features provided us. Manually typing in a dash or a hyphen, again, doesn't let the user know that this is a list. Alt text for any type of images, tables, charts, and graphs is required, and anything that is not conveyed, any image that is not conveying information, can be marked as decorative. Fonts need to be legible. For example, Arial, Times New Roman, just an example of some legible fonts, size 10 to 14. Fancy fonts, anything script is hard for a screen reader to use. We always want to use simple tables, no merge cells. I'm going to demonstrate today what a simple table is, but again, taking our full class, we go through simple tables and we go through complex tables and how to fix them in Word and in Acrobat. And what's really important here is that our programs do have accessibility checkers, and they are definitely a must. You should use them. But what's very important is that just because you use one of those checkers in the program does not mean that your document is good to go. There's always other checks that you have to do. There are checklists that you can download, and you always need to do a manual check as well. Just some best practices, again, working in PDFs. Always utilize your heading structure, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. Avoid untagged PDFs. An untagged PDF um, will not convey any information to your users. Alt text, again, making sure that you have descriptive text for your images and graphs and charts. And accessibility checker, again, is very important to run, and also using a manual check as well. Again, I will provide you with some links where you can look at our catalog and our training resources that we provide. Okay, so I am going to open up a like I said, a very simple Word document. And I just want to go through very quickly on how you can check to see if this document is compliant and how we can make some fixes. Again, this is just going to be a brief overview. I am not going to go through everything, but again, just highlighting some important things that are important. So I'm going to come over to the review tab. And in the review tab, you have your check accessibility. And when I check the accessibility, just a couple of things that I'm getting on this is that one, well, I have some merged cells. So we just talked about that. So we know that is not compliant. Now, the other thing that is not coming up and doesn't come up in Word is that the structure, the heading structure that we just talked about. So if I click in my title, it's just showing me a normal style and normal, and I'm just getting some normal. So I don't have the proper heading structure. So I'm going to fix that. And the other thing I want to take a look at, there's some spacing between my paragraphs, which look pretty good, but I'm getting empty paragraphs. And I don't want a screen reader to have to read blank, 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 blank. So I am going to show you how to um, get rid of those quickly and easily. So let's do that first. Let's get rid of those paragraph marks. All right, so I'm going to turn those off. I'm going to come into the find and replace. And in the find what, I'm just going to expand the more here. And I'm going to select paragraph mark and paragraph mark. So I'm going to have word search for double paragraph marks. And I'm going to replace it with one. Really quick way to do a global edit. I'm going to do replace all. And let me just do one more. All right. And I think I'm going to be good to go. So I'm going to close that out. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is apply some styles. And I'm going to build in the spacing in the style. So I'm going to come over to my Give Peas a Chance. This is our heading 1. And I'm just going to right click on this. I'm going to go into Modify. And I think I'll go to Format and Paragraph. And I'll do a 12 before and a 12 after. All right. And we'll do the same thing. I'll go heading 2. I'm going to modify. And I'm going to go to Paragraph. I'll keep it 12, 12. And now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to apply all my heading 2s. And there's another heading 2. Now I just want to double check to make sure I have all my styles in place. So I'm going to go over to the View tab and take a look at my navigation pane. So now you can see all my headings. And this is great for navigating a large document. So it looks good to go. And now I'm going to fix the merge cells that we have going on here. So let me go down to my table. And like I said, no merge cells if this is staying in Word. If this is going over to Acrobat, I would leave it. And then in Acrobat, what I would do is scope the table. But I'm going to come over to my layout. And from layout, I am going to split the cell, keep it 2 columns. That looks good. And I'm just going to give this new heading a title called the specs because we do want to try and to eliminate no empty cells. All right. So right now, my accessibility is good to go. And I'm going to come over to, I think I'll save this first. And I'm going to do a file and I'm going to do a save as PDF. Now I am doing a save as PDF and I'm not going to do a print to PDF because a print to PDF is not going to give me that tagging structure that I need. So I'm going to do a save as PDF. I am going to save this to my desktop. I'm going to click on save and wait for it to convert. There we go. All right. So now that I am looking at my PDF, couple of things that I want to do before I run my accessibility checker. One, notice over on our Tools tab. From your Tools tab, working in your Protect and Sanitize area, you have your full accessibility. Any of these tools that have an ad, you can add it over to the right-hand side so you can get it quick and easily, right? So mine is already there. I want to click on my P's and I'm going to go to accessibility. So just a couple things that you have here. Again, we go in more detail with this in our class. Um, but if you had a PDF and you did not have that original document and you realize there are no accessibility tags, then you can run an auto tag of your file. Accessibility check is what we are going to do. You can run an accessibility check and get a report if you need to identify your form fields. And if any of your images did not have alt text, you can add alternative text through this option. I am going to go to my accessibility check. With your accessibility checker here, as we can see, this is giving us a lot more options than what we have in Word. You have four different categories working with your document, making sure it's tagged, making sure it's not an image only, um, looking at page content. Um, do we have proper links? Do our links to other sites or other pages, making sure they are not repeated? Um, our forms, tables, and lists all must be properly tagged. We must have table headers that associate with table data cells and our rows. Same things for our LIs and our lists. Um, and then again, making sure we have all of our alt text. So I'm going to go ahead and click start checking. Now, because this is a pretty simple document, we are not getting any errors with this. But I'm going to show you how you can check the reading order, walking through some tags. So what I did is over on the navigation pane, which is over to the left, before I started this, I right click on the navigation pane and I always like to add my accessibility tags, adding in the reading order and the content panel, which are some other ways that you can go through and check your document's accessibility structure. What I want to do is just walk this tag tree. So when I expand out the tag, every one of my tags is sitting in the main parent tag, which is a document. When we click on heading one, the heading one in the document will be selected. And then I'm just taking the arrow key down the tag tree and just making sure that everything is tagged appropriately and my paragraphs are correct. Now, looks like I have a paragraph here and there is nothing in the document. So if I expand this tag, we have an empty container. So we don't need that. So I'll just press delete. Now I have this parent table tag. So expanding that tag, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, and I should have 7 table rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, everything is good. Now, when we expand the table row, we will have table header, TH, that is correct. And I'm going to collapse that. And let's take a look at our next row. So I have a table header and a table data. Well, we just associated our about planting peas as a header. I don't think plant or soil or fertilizer, those are not header cells. I'm going to change the TH and it's by right clicking. I'm going to go to properties and I'm just going to change the type of tag this is from a table header cell to a table data cell. Again, I just did a right click on that. Now, I'm going to check every one of these because yep, have a seeking suspicion that I have table headers for all of these. So a really quick, easy way to do this is I'm going to expand all my table rows. And by holding down the control key, I am going to select all of the incorrect tags, just collapsing some of these. There we go. So now they're all selected. And I'm going to right click and go to properties and make a change table data. All right. And I'm just going to collapse these guys. All right. And it looks like we have another empty tag. There we go. All right, and I'm just going to right click, guys, on my figure tag, go into properties, just so we can see the alt text. Again, this is another way by right clicking, getting into your tag properties for alt text. If you needed to add or modify the description, you could do so here. All right, and it looks like, yep, one more empty tag. Well, it looks like we are good to go. And I'm just going to come back to my accessibility checker. Just going to look at those two errors that we have, and these are manual checks. So as for this demonstration, we just went through and checked that reading order, so we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and pass it. Our color contrast is good to go. I'm going to go ahead and right click and pass that. And our document is now accessible. So, thank you very much for joining me for this overview on making your documents 508 compliant. Again, please visit our website, softtechdc.com. Please click on that link, like this video, and I hope to see you in one of our instructor led classes. Thank you.